Welcome aboard Royal Air Maroc. I'm halfway over the Atlantic on this unique North African carrier. I'm heading all the way from Cairo to Casablanca and on to New York JFK on this unique airline. Come with me and enjoy the video. In today's video, I'll be taking two Royal Air Maroc flights from Cairo to Casablanca and then on to New York, a total of 14 hours flying time on board two different aircraft. We'll take a look at the whole trip, including a connection in chaotic Casablanca, visiting the airline's business class lounge, and we'll take a good look at our Boeing 787 Dreamliner for the New York leg. I'll show you all there is to know about flying this airline, one of the newest and least talked about members of the One World Alliance. We're heading to New York. It's a very early start for me in Cairo. My flight leaves at 6:30 AM and getting through this airport is pretty stressful at the best of times. But I managed and got a glimpse of the Boeing 737-800, which will take us over 2,000 miles to Morocco this morning. Well, here we go, a very long travel day in store, but I am really looking forward to it. Royal Air Maroc is a new airline for me. After breakfast, I planned to sleep for most of the flight. I actually hadn't intended to record this first flight at all, but then I discovered that due to a diplomatic dispute between Morocco and Algeria, we actually take a route avoiding Algerian airspace over the Mediterranean, bringing us over tourist hotspots like Crete, Sardinia, and Mallorca. It was quite a scenic route. This felt like the quickest 5.5-hour flight I've ever taken. Well, a pretty good start to the trip. Now to find the lounge. Transiting in Casablanca is not something I'd recommend if you're in economy. There were huge queues, and I really did feel like I cheated a bit by being in the business class line. Casablanca is Royal Air Maroc's hub, and there's a lot of West African traffic here. The airline's main lounge is Le Zenith, and to be honest, it is the most profoundly mediocre lounge I've come across from an airline in the One World Alliance. It's an uninspiring space, with poor food options and not enough space to find a quiet moment anywhere. So the lounge itself may not be much to write home about, but this has one of the biggest and most ridiculous shower suites I've ever seen on my travels. You could probably fit 3 showers in this floor space, but there is just one available, and even this required a wait as it was being repaired. Still, it's really not bad at all, and I'm always really glad to have any sort of shower when transiting. There's a sort of outside space here. This is the smoking terrace. The view is a bit restricted, but I found this area much less busy than the rest of the lounge, which, by the time I had to leave, was completely packed with barely a spare seat in the house. If you do come through this lounge, take a look outside. There's a building which looks perhaps a little bit like a mosque, but this is actually the Royal Terminal that the King of Morocco uses whenever he flies. A quick reminder, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to subscribe. You'll join a community of hundreds of thousands of other trip report enthusiasts exploring the world with me. Our ride this afternoon to New York is this Boeing 787-9, the mid-sized variant of Boeing's Dreamliner, with 26 business class and 278 economy class seats. On the Dash 9, all business class seats are reverse herringbone, with middle pairs being the best for couples that are still talking to each other. Of course, I took a window. Today's video is sponsored by Surfshark VPN, an award-winning virtual private network. Now, there are a ton of great reasons to use a VPN like Surfshark, from leveraging lower prices online to improving your online security. Surfshark is really useful to me because it helps me bounce my device's location to wherever suits me. Now, we don't have time to get into every single use case, but here is just one. It's so frustrating when I'm in the UK and I want to look at, let's say, a cool news story I saw on Twitter, but whoa, this site is from the US and doesn't comply with GDPR. That's really annoying, but a quick flick of the switch to a US location and hey presto, the site now thinks I'm in the US and I can browse away happily. The same thing also applies to BBC iPlayer. If I'm outside of the UK and I want to watch my favourite show, it can be really hard to get content to work because of licensing issues. But again, set my location to inside the UK and there we go. I can now get into the BBC iPlayer website and watch videos to my heart's content, stay up to date with the news and catch my favourite shows. It's an incredible tool, a real Swiss Army knife. And of course, it's available to you for a very special rate, at less than the cost of a cup of coffee per month. Secure your privacy with Surfshark. Enter coupon code WINGINIT for an extra 4 months for free at surfshark.deals/wingingit.
Hello. Hello. How are you doing? Some skating to the right, to the left, please.
Thank you. I'd chosen seat 6K online, which has 2 windows. Note that the seats in row 7 and row 5 are each missing a window, so don't choose these seats if looking out of the window is important to you. And perhaps don't even choose this airline if looking out of the window is important to you. More on that later. I'm lucky enough to fly a lot of business class, but I've got to say, I've never seen a premium cabin in purple before quite like this one. I'm all settled down now in this beautiful business class seat. We've got just over 7 hours of flying time today over to New York JFK. We've had some headphones and an amenity kit dropped off and a pre-departure drink. And I think this is going to be a great flight. Cheers.
Oh, wow.
It's that lime and mint stuff you get on Qatar Airways. It's grown on me. It's grown on me. The cabin really is stunning, and the Islamic geometric patterns are prevalent on the bulkheads and from everything to the seats, to the carpets, and even the business class menus which are handed out before takeoff. The menu does say that there is a dine-on-demand facility on Royal Air Maroc, but I wasn't offered this and I don't think anybody else was either. There are just traditional meal times, as far as I could tell on this flight. On their 787-9 flagships, Royal Air Maroc have these reverse herringbone BE Aerospace Super Diamond seats, and these are some of the best all-round seats that you can find in any business class cabin. They do all of the simple and basic things well, and they're still pretty private as well. It's difficult to have any complaints about the seat. They also avoid a mistake a lot of other business class seats make by having the controls too close to your hand or elbow when you're in the resting position, but the controls here are in a more logical position and you won't find yourself accidentally activating them. Unfortunately, just after takeoff, and despite this being a flight in full daytime, all of the window shades are dimmed centrally by the cabin crew and the cabin is plunged into darkness. The entertainment is a bit lacking in respect of good English language content, but that is to be expected. The airline is from a French and Arabic speaking country. However, there are a few good English language classics available. How about The Wizard of Oz as a way of passing 2 hours? The lunch service on board was pretty comprehensive, comprising 4 courses. The tomato and mozzarella skewer was very tasty, and this was followed up with a selection of Moroccan salads, which were all very interesting. I do love trying local dishes when I'm flying. The menu is really not bad on this flight, but I could not resist ordering the Moroccan options, and for the main course I've gone for the lamb tagine, which looks absolutely fantastic. You know, when I've come to edit this video, I've realised that the tagine doesn't look that fantastic, but in the air, I promise you it really did, and it tasted superb. The cabin crew also offered me 2 desserts, the cheese course and the fruit-flavoured mousse, to finish me off. The food on board isn't going to win any awards, but I'm always grateful for something a bit different, and Royal Air Maroc certainly delivered on that. One of the really strong points of the reverse herringbone seats you get on Royal Air Maroc is that they turn into a fantastic bed at just over 6 feet long. I managed to sleep for about 2 hours of the 7.5-hour crossing, which I always find really important to do when flying westbound because the days can be really long. There's a modest but ultimately forgettable amenity kit provided to all passengers, and to be honest, I've never really understood the appeal of this face mist. It's not that refreshing and it just kind of feels weird. You'll be relieved to know that yes, this is a loo with a view, but I'm afraid the cabin crew have centrally locked all of the windows and not even the one here in the bathroom is operable by the passenger. So we are just about 2.5 hours away from John F. Kennedy, and on our right hand side we should be able to see Newfoundland, which at this time of year would be covered in snow and absolutely beautiful, but of course we can't. Now let me know in the comments what you think about the window shade situation. There are arguments for and against. What do you think about cabin crew locking out the windows on the Dreamliner? In common with a lot of carriers plying transatlantic routes, the pre-landing meal is quite disappointing, a single chicken and mushroom quiche. We're soon descending into New York, and yes, those windows are fully transparent again. Royal Air Maroc is a pretty strange and not my favourite airline, but I still enjoyed my flight with them, and for one reason. It was really cheap, £848 one way from Cairo to Casablanca to New York, and in the process collecting 280 British Airways tier points. That's nearly a fifth of what I need to requalify as a Gold British Airways Executive Club member. There are plenty of things that Royal Air Maroc could do to improve as a full member of the One World Alliance. It's not that often you see such a lackluster lounge and ground services, and to be honest, the catering, while interesting, probably wouldn't hold my attention over multiple flights if I had to fly them regularly. But it is what it is. As always, thanks so much to Surfshark for sponsoring this video and making it possible. Secure your privacy with Surfshark. Enter coupon code WINGINIT for an extra 4 months for free at surfshark.deals/WINGINIT. Thanks again, and thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now. Oh, and by the way, look how lucky I was when I arrived at JFK's immigration. Have you ever seen an empty arrivals hall like this? See ya.